Blondies, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to share with you my recipe for my pumpkin swirl white chocolate chip blondies. So these are really great to have for this time of year, specifically because there's pumpkin in them, but they're really fantastic for holiday season, trick-or-treat, whatever you want to make them for. They're delicious. Let me take you over the ingredients so we can get this thing started. You'll need some all-purpose flour, some baking powder, salt, granulated sugar, brown sugar, some eggs, some unsalted butter that's been softened to room temperature, white chocolate chips, vanilla extract. You'll also need a little bit more sugar, some pumpkin puree, this is pure pumpkin puree, and some pumpkin pie spice. Now the first thing you want to do is get your oven preheated to 350. What I also have here is an 8 by 8 inch square baking pan here, and I've lined it with some parchment paper, and I also sprayed it with a little bit of nonstick spray because I fear anything sticking. And you want to make sure that your parchment comes up the sides a little bit so that it's easy for you to just to lift these out when you're ready to cut them up. So let's get started. To my both kinds of sugar, I am going to add my butter. Now you want to make sure your butter is really soft at room temperature. I had mine sitting out at room temperature, and then I just placed it on top of the stove because the oven is on, and it kind of really made it nice and soft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just use my spatula, and I'm going to start combining both sugars and the butter together. You could certainly do this in your big standing mixer, but that's fine. It's not that much work. It's just really combining everything. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to add in my eggs and vanilla extract. I think I'm going to end up using all of this. Yep, I need a couple teaspoons, and that's good. All nice and empty. I'm just going to switch to a whisk now. I really should have just thought a little bit more about this and gotten a bigger bowl, but that's fine. I like a little bit of danger here. You know, I like living on the edge. That looks good. I'm just going to take my spatula and mix my baking powder in there, and my salt, pour in my wet ingredients. As you can see, this is a really easy recipe. I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it, but this is particularly an easy one, and it's so good. I mean, you know what it reminds me of? Like a pumpkin spice white mocha. This is what this reminds me of because it's got the white chocolate chips, it's got the pumpkin spice. Oh, it's so good. So all I'm going to do is actually mix this up with my spatula. I just find it to be a lot easier. And just mix it enough until the flour is incorporated well into your wet ingredients, and then we'll move on to the next step. As you can see, that happens really quickly. At this point, I'm going to add in my white chocolate chips, and now all you're going to do is stir these in to combine them in your batter. And this is a thicker batter, so you have to be a little bit patient, but look, it happened in what? 10 seconds. And then I'm just going to scrape this out into my prepared pan. And then all I want you to do is get this as even as possible in your baking pan. That looks good enough. Okay. Get off of me. All right. Now, let's move that aside for a second and mix together our pumpkin puree. Now, this is just some pumpkin puree that I buy in a can. It is one of my favorite ingredients of all time to have on hand because it is so easy to use. And some pumpkin pie spice and just a touch of sugar. You don't really need a lot of sugar. Just mix that together and then just make little dollops with your mixture all over the top of your base. And then I just take my knife and in no particular order, I just kind of swirl this in there. And now you have to remember that your base is pretty thick, so it's not going to look perfect. You're not going to be able to run it and make all these beautiful designs with it. The key here is to incorporate some of that pumpkin right in there, and then leaving some right on the very top. That is the key to making this. There's really a key to making this because it's so easy. But just do the best that you can. That looks fine to me. I can still see some white. I can still see the pumpkin in there. And I'm going to pop this into the oven at 350 for about 25 to 30 minutes or until it's fully cooked. Let it cool, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. My pumpkin swirl blondies were in the oven for around 30 minutes. I'll let them cool pretty much completely, but you want to make sure you do that. I'm just going to run a knife right here because sometimes a little bit sticks, and these should lift out beautifully, which they do. Thank you very much to the parchment paper. And now you can really cut these as small or as big as you'd like. I'm probably just gonna cut these. I'm gonna go 4 across and then 4 across again. Oh, smells unbelievably good. Actually, yeah, that's good. They smell incredible. I'm gonna go for this one right here. I mean, look at that. Look at that. You could see that they're fluffy in there. Yeah, a little chewy looking right there from the white chocolate and the butter. The pumpkin. The gooiness. I know. I know. I know. These are out of this world. Really out of this world. I really hope that you make this recipe. And I hope that you feel this enthusiastic and excited over a recipe this easy as I do. Please make sure you post the pictures on my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I love seeing what you recreate. And I want you to make this. I want you to tell me how you like it, because trust me, this will be a treat on your holiday table. Guarantee it. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get this recipe. I can't even talk. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.